So, awakening a taste for the holy name. I thought that'd be a nice topic for the Harmony Collective. And the source of inspiration for this came from Hari Bhakti Vilas. There's a Japa Sampati. There's some teaching in Hari, Hari Bhakti Vilas how to chant with quality. Of course, it takes more than just some words in Hari Bhakti Vilas. It takes a lot of work, a lot of purification. Some of you like reading Prabhupada's books. So some of you have read in Prabhupada's books. There's a very nice description of Rupa Goswami composing Vidagdha Madhava and the Lita Madhava. It's a long story. But he was on an overland journey from Vrindavan to visit Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri. And while he was traveling, in his mind he was composing a drama, Krishna's pastimes drama. And according to Chaitanya Charitamrita, when he got to a place along the way known as Satyabhamapur, he had a dream. Satyabhama appeared to him in a dream and said, make it 2 dramas. Krishna in Vrindavan, Krishna after Krishna departs Vrindavan. So he took that as an instruction, transcendental divine instruction, Satyabhama in Satyabhamapur. He didn't tell anybody, but when he got to Puri, after some time, some discussion with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said the same thing. 2 dramas. I heard you're composing a drama. Make it 2 dramas. And with that, Rupa Goswami could understand he's omniscient because he hadn't told anybody. And in course of time, Rupa Goswami was, as humble as he was put on the hot seat. He was asked in the company of very learned Vaishnavas to recite passages from his writings. He didn't want to, but he was ordered to, and so he began speaking. And one of the verses that he spoke is found in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's description of chanting Krishna's name. I do not know how much nectar the 2 syllables Krishna have produced. So it starts with the part of the body that makes the sound. When the holy name of Krishna is chanted, it appears to dance within the mouth. We then desire many, many mouths. Then the sound goes to the ear. When that name enters the holes of the ears, we desire many millions of ears. And then next. And when the holy name dances in the courtyard of the heart, it conquers the activities of the mind, and therefore all the senses become inert. So this is one of a few different meditations, one of many meditations while chanting, is, for me, focus on the part of chanting that's the making of the sound, And if you find that your mind gets distracted when chanting japa, focus on making, it's a trick, focus on making the sound distinct. In order to make the sound distinct, you have to hear it. And then the sound goes in the ear. It goes in the ear anyways, but it goes in the ear, and it's such nectar that who can say how much nectar? Millions of ears. That would look kind of funny. Millions of ears. And then the sound enters the courtyard of the heart, dances in the courtyard of the heart. And then the mind becomes conquered. And the senses become inert. So the mind absorbed in the name. This Rupa Goswami's writing. And some of us have been involved in the process of chanting for quite some time. And I can say this from, every now and then I get in an airplane and go somewhere, travel a little bit. And one of the phrases that's expressed differently, but this is one of the ways that it's expressed. I'm still chanting, still reading, but not much progress. So how to move beyond the not much progress, how to move beyond mediocrity and move to the path of bhakti. So one of the resources that I like is Raghunath Das Goswami, of course many, but Raghunath Das Goswami is one of many. And I hope technology works, because one of the writings of Raghunath Das Goswami is the writing of Manashiksha. I'll look at that, it works. So this is a recording of one of the verses.
Svarupam Shirupam Saganamiha Tasyagrajamapi Sputam Premna Nityam Smaranamatadatvam Shrunumana.
This is the very talented devotee couple, Mukunda and Shruti. Here's Shruti. Whoops, whoa, Shruti went away. It's with music, so somehow it didn't come through. Listen, O mind. Manashiksha, instructions to the mind. Listen, O mind. If you desire in every birth to reside in the land of Vraja with loving attachment, and to serve the youthful couple Sri Sri Radha Krishna in close proximity, then clearly remember and offer obeisances to Sri Swarup, to Sri Rupa and his associates in Vrindavan, and to Sri Rupa's elder brother, Sri Sanatana. Now this book, Manashiksha, this particular verse, and the whole book, is describing the path of spontaneous devotion, which goes beyond regulative and certainly goes beyond mediocre regulative bhakti. So it's a path to follow, the whole book, but it's a path to follow to go beyond just introductory level chanting and hearing and trying to control the mind. There's a target or an aspiration, a goal, and that's eternally serving the divine couple Radha Krishna in Vrindavan. As we know, there's 5 most potent activities, any one of which, if done without offense, is sufficient to immediately awaken Bhava Bhakti. A small condition without offense. But practice and practice and practice with a genuine aspiration for that shelter and that association, and that's equivalent to, it equals residing in Vrindavan. Although it's hard to, meditating on being in Vrindavan and being in Vrindavan have some difference, at least for me. And then standard is become close followers and worshippers and pray to and seek the inspiration, instruction, and guidance from these exalted associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Vrindavan. Now, Sarup Damodar was not a resident in Vrindavan. Sarup Damodar, for Raghunath Das Goswami, was his Shiksha Guru. When Raghunath Das Goswami finally made it after ordeal and ordeal and ordeal and obstacle, and finally he made it to Lord Chaitanya's shelter in Jagannath Puri, immediately he, Raghunath Das, was placed in the care of Sarup Damodar. And Sarup Damodar, just as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was Krishna in the mood of Radha, Sarup Damodar is Lalita, and Radha, Lalita, and Vishaka. So he, Raghunath Das Goswami, was trained by Sarup Damodar. And the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita had 2 main written sources. The diary of Murari Gupta, the earlier stages of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, and then the diary of Sarup Damodar, because Sarup Damodar had intimate association, plus he understood the heart and the mind and the mood and the feelings and the internal workings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he's Sarup Damodar, because he's Lalita in relation to Radha. Lalita knows the heart of Radha. And everything that Sarup Damodar understood, he relayed not only the details of the pastimes, but the moods of love, the moods of ecstatic experience of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Raghunath Das Goswami. It wasn't just, downloading information to his hard drive. It wasn't just information, it was the ecstatic mood that he received directly and intimately from Sarup Damodar. So he's encouraging his reader and listener to remember and offer obeisances to Sarup, Rupa Goswami, and his associates in Vrindavan, and to Sanatan Goswami. So these 3 personalities. And the associates of Rupa means everybody else. And Sanatan Goswami was already mentioned. Sanatan Goswami takes the credit for Hari Bhakti Vilas. Hari Bhakti Vilas is a manual that gives indication, or I call it a how-to manual. how to observe Janmashtami, how to observe Ekadasi, how to perform, how to do deity worship, how to everything, how to chant the holy name. So there's a how to chant the holy name section. And he, Sanatana Goswami, received a collection of writings from Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Gopal Bhatta Goswami had Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's intimate association in Sri Rangam in South India for the 4 months of the rainy season when he was a small boy. And Mahaprabhu instructed him, you stay and serve your parents until they give you permission that you may come and join me in Puri. So he did. And while he was there, Gopal Bhatta, being the brilliant, I don't know if you know people that keep really meticulous notes. Do you know anybody that does that, where they read and do their studies? I just, little sharing. I had not very much association, but Ganapati Swami is one such person. I mean, his notes was a book. And he didn't just take notes, he was very familiar with what's in his notes. He's an assiduous studier and a note taker. And when I hear about, the notes of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, I think of Ganapati Swami. Very similar in nature. And when all those years that he wasn't in Lord Chaitanya's association, but finally the blessings of his parents, there's different versions when his parents left this world or they were very elderly and they instructed him, now you go join Mahaprabhu. So he went to, not went join Mahaprabhu, go to Vrindavan and take shelter of Rupa Goswami. So he didn't even stop in Puri to say Hari Bol. He just went to Vrindavan and made his residence in Vrindavan. And one of the compilations is many, many, many notes on the how to, because he was the son of the chief priest of Sri Rangam, which is a big deal. To be the chief priest, to be a priest in Sri Rangam, what to speak of being the chief priest, he had access to everything. The how to everything. And it was carefully trained and a great recipient. So all of that was put in note form, and then he handed over the notes to Sanatana Goswami with 2 requests. Please take all these notes and organize them in a publishable manner. And the other thing is, don't mention my name when you publish it. He did something very similar with Jiva Goswami and his son Darbas. And so they're co-authors, one could say. But generally speaking, Sanatana Goswami is the author of Hari Bhakti Vilas. And here's a verse from Hari Bhakti Vilas about chanting. The last phrase there is japa sampati, chanting with quality, japa with quality. And here's the terms. Mana, samharanam shaucham, maunam mantrartha chintanam. I'm going to spend most of the time on this mantrartha chintanam. The meditating upon the artha of mantra. The artha of mantra can mean its value or its meaning, both. So we'll spend some time on both. Perfection through practice, or sadhana siddha. So we're all doing sadhana, but this is some instruction how to go from mediocrity to siddha, in case you wanted to know, from Sanatana Goswami. And of course, there's the Krishna factor. It's not just procedures and so forth. One of the persons who wrote extensively about the meaning of the mantra was a disciple of Gopal Guru, who was a disciple of Vikreshwara Pandit, who was a disciple of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His name is Dhyana Chandra Goswami. There's the title of the book. There's the Bengali cover of the book. And here's a verse from Sapadati, step by step. One should be clean, silent, and think of the meaning of the mantra. The mantra should be situated in the mind, and the mind should be situated in the mantra. The mind and the mantra should be joined together. This is the characteristic of japa. That's his rendering of this verse from Hari Bhakti Vilas. So it's a long book. It's a booklet, not a long book. It's a book that's just instructions on a padati, on chanting. And in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's writing, when he discusses this verse from Hari Bhakti Vilas, he makes reference to Gopal Guru Goswami. This is a murti of Gopal Guru Goswami found in Puri. Gopal became Gopal Guru from the time that he was a small child. A small child. So as a small child, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was introduced to this little boy Gopal. And Lord Chaitanya ordered, Gopal, chant in ecstasy. And Gopal chanted in ecstasy and started crying and crying and crying in ecstasy. So he was no longer just Gopal, he's Gopal Guru. And as he grew up, Gopal Guru Goswami. Harinama Mahamantra Vyaka Smarana Padati, or the system for remembering the Lord. So he takes this same phrase, mantrartha chintanam, where he discusses particularly the meaning and the value of the mantra. So I know about this from Jaiva Dharma, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Many of you, I don't know if we have new people here. Do I have to identify who all these people are? That was a yes?
As much as you like.
Much as I like. Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master was Bhaktisiddhanta. Bhaktisiddhanta's father was Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a amazing Vaishnava. One of the amazing parts of his Vaishnavism was his writing. Vastly prolific. One of his great works was called Jaiva Dharma. In essence, it's a retelling of Hari Bhakti Vilas and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and the essential teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So in that book, Jaiva Dharma, this is where my reference comes from, he calls upon Gopal Guru Goswami and his descriptions of the meaning of the mantra. Because according to Hari Bhakti Vilas, when chanting mantra, one should meditate on the meaning of the mantra. It's not too complicated. It's Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Specifically, it's Mahamantra. Meditating on the meaning. So there are different translations because it was in Sanskrit, but here's one I like. The personality of Godhead who has a form of eternity, knowledge, and bliss has manifested himself in the form of his name. This is Gopal Guru's description of the meaning of the mantra. Because he takes away ignorance and its activities, the devotee remembers him as Hari. Sri Radha, who is the Lord's own pleasure potency, steals the mind of Krishna. She is therefore praised as Hara. The vocative form of Hara is Hare. So that's the first word. Hari and Hara. So Hari in the vocative is also Hare. And Radha as Hara because she steals the mind of Hari. Hari means one who takes away. And Hara is one who takes away the mind of one who takes away. And vocative is Hare. So it's calling Radharani. Sri Krishna is the eternal beloved of Radha, who is bliss personified, or the Ananda aspect of Krishna. The beautiful dark son of Nanda, with eyes like lotus petals, is the only source of bliss for the residents of Gokula. He, Krishna, is therefore known as Krishna, the all-attractive. Therefore the names Hare and Krishna mean Radha and Krishna are full of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. So that's the first half of the mantra. Then comes the Rama. That Sri Krishna, who is the chief amongst those expert in loving affairs, and the worshipable deity of amorous pastimes, always enjoys Radha. He is therefore called the Rama, or Radha Ramana Rama. This is the meditation of the meaning of the mantra by Gopal Guru Goswami. In different translations, they vary slightly, but this last part doesn't vary at all. Radha Ramana Rama. Radha Ramana Rama. The enjoyer, Radha Ramana Rama. Krishna. Bhaktivinoda Thakur summarizes it, with a pure heart one should think about the meaning of the holy name. So it's true for mantras, general, the meaning of the mantra while chanting the mantra. It's a little bit like one of our anthems is the Jai Radha Madhava song. So it's not just sing the song, but when you meditate, I invite you, please. We sing it regularly. So it's like a mantra. It doesn't start with a formal Om or something like that, but it's a mantra. It's the names of Krishna in Vrindavan, and meditating on the names of Krishna in Vrindavan have the potency to carry you to Krishna and Vrindavan. If you meditate carefully and thoughtfully and with absorption, the names are potent. The names carry the potency of Krishna and Vrindavan within them. You get carried away to Vrindavan just by singing or reciting or remembering the names while singing the meaning of the names. It's recommended in Hari Bhakti Vilas how to chant with perfection. So there's Bhaktivinoda Thakur's summary of that phrase, mantrartha chintanam. And Prabhupada made it really simple for us. We've all heard it so many times. My dear Radha, my dear Krishna, please engage me in your service. Or, my dear Radha, please engage me in Krishna's service. O Radharani, beloved of Krishna, please engage me in Krishna's service. Rupa Goswami has something very similar. Rupa Goswami's, this is just some meditation on how to chant with quality, according to Hari Bhakti Vilas. Meditating on the meaning or the value of the mantra, his namastaka. Ashtaka means 8. And he has 8 prayers that he personally composed, glorifying the holy name. We already heard that verse from Vidagdha Madhava, how much nectar the 2 syllables Krishna have. Who can say? So here's Namastaka, where he explains the holy name is worshipped by liberated souls, as even Namabhas destroys all types of miseries. No, that's not in the verse. If someone utters you, even with negligence, you destroy this Namabhas. You destroy his severe material miseries. That is your mighty powers. Meditation on the power. And with negligence, the Sanskrit phrase is anadarat. It's a nice phrase. Some of you like reading Prabhupada's books, I know. And one of the books that is one of our standard texts is Nectar of Instruction. It's a little skinny book, but it has sadhana bhakti and spontaneous devotional service within it as well, raga bhakti. The last of the sadhana bhakti verses is text number 7, and Rupa Goswami encourages that one should chant adarat, and this is its opposite, anadarat. Adara, Prabhupada has translated in his translation word for word and in the phrase carefully. And the general meaning of adarat or adara is with respect. And without respect is anadarat, or casually, carelessly, the mouth is moving, the attention is somewhere else. That's disrespect. Respect is, the name is what the name is. The name is Krishna. And Krishna is making himself available. I mean, we all know the philosophy, but then to connect the mind and the heart with the sound requires respect for the sound. And when there was respect for the sound, then many powerful things happen that don't happen when you're not respectful or not attentive or negligent, distracted. However, the name is so powerful that even you chant anadarat with negligence. Krishna, this is his namastika number 2, is so powerful. Tvam anadarat api manag udiratam. The severe material miseries are taken away. That's how powerful the name is. Just the abhas, or the shadow, the reflection of the name, what to speak of the name. So what to speak of chanting with adara. Now I'm going to end shortly. There are many, many, many places, one of many places where the power of the holy name, because mantrartha chintanam means meditating on the meaning and meditating on the value. And that which you understand has value, you regard it carefully. You know, like a miser carefully guards their money. And a Vaishnava carefully guards attentiveness when chanting. And some of us are somewhere in between, you know, not chanting and chanting not attentively. Anyway, there's some things that one can do to enhance the attentiveness. These are the two things recommended. The value and the meaning. So here's from Padyavali. Padyavali is a collection of sayings, Rupa Goswami's, some of his favorite sayings. As it says, indicates here, one of them is the author is unknown. It's one of the first in this section, Nama Mahatmya, the glories of the holy name. Author unknown. Extracting the 4 syllables that are the heart of the 4 Vedas, Hari, makes the word Narayana. So that's not the Maha Mantra, but it's a name of the Supreme Lord. Day and night chanting this name, we become purified. We do not know any other better way to please Lord Hari. I mean, sometimes there's a question. How do we know what's pleasing to Lord Hari? What's pleasing to Krishna? How do we know? So it's since Guru Sadhu Shastra. But here's something that just makes it really, really simple. Besides, then you have to know lots of Guru Sadhu Shastra stuff. Just chant. We do not know any other better way to please Lord Hari. And Ishwara Puri was the spiritual master of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he wrote some things about the holy name. Here's one of them. Let the twice-born enter the fearless kingdom of yoga, Vedic study, and solitary meditation in the forest. Let them become liberated in that way. As for us, we will spend hundreds of thousands of births chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna, whose splendid dark complexion and yellow garments are like a host of blue lotus flowers blooming in a grove of yellow flower-bearing kadamba trees. Poetic. In other words, not aspiring for liberation, just aspiring for being with Krishna in the form of his holy name. Not desiring something material, not desiring liberation, just desiring being with Krishna in the form of his holy name. I'm going to tell another story. There's a description in Chaitanya Charitamrita where Rupa Goswami was engaged in writing Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which we know as Nectar Devotion. And while he was engaged in writing Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, a Brahmana, vastly learned Brahmana named Venkatabhatta, came to visit Vrindavan, holy place, and he heard the reputation of Rupa Goswami. He wanted to meet him. So an arrangement was made, and he came before Rupa Goswami, and they had some very elevated Vaishnava quality exchanges. And Rupa Goswami said that, I've heard you're a very learned scholar. Could I make a request of you? I have an extra manuscript of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Could you read it over very carefully, and if you find something that needs some correction, you can make some suggestions for editing corrections? Oh yes, I'm a very learned scholar. I'll be glad to do that nice service for you. And some days went by, and he came back with another visit, and he said, I found it exquisite, except there's one thing I was a little uncomfortable with. What's that? Well, you described bhukti and mukti like witches. And that was a little strident, a little harsh, calling bhukti and mukti a witch. You might want to think of some other choice of words besides calling them a witch. And Rupa Goswami said, let me consider this recommendation of yours. Meanwhile, it's midday. Jiva, can you take him to the river Jamuna so he can do his midday bath and chant Gayatri, etc.? So while they're walking to the Jamuna, Jiva, who was the nephew and disciple of Rupa Goswami, asked Venkatabhatta, could you explain to me what it was about that particular passage from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that made you uncomfortable? And the response was, well, it's certainly bhukti, or sense gratification, enjoying the senses, indulging the senses in material pleasures. That's like a witch. But within the Vedas, mukti is honored. Liberation is given a very special, honorable position. So to call mukti a witch, that's what I was uncomfortable with. And Jiva Goswami immediately responded, you didn't understand his writing correctly. Jiva Goswami, right to the point. He didn't say that bhukti and mukti were witches. It's the asha, or the desire for bhukti and mukti. The desire for either is like a witch, because it covers bhakti. The desire for liberation covers bhakti. So within this Ishvara Puri statement, it's not, the expectation is no liberation, please. It's the desire is not liberation. The desire is relationship with Krishna. And the relationship with Krishna for him and for us is established, can be established for us just from chanting and meditating upon the meaning of the mantra, meditating on the meaning of the name. The host of blue lotus flowers blooming in a grove of yellow flower-bearing kadamba trees, Radha and Krishna together, the Hare Krishna mantra. That's his absorption. Beyond the desire for liberation. He's not denying that one can achieve liberation by these methods mentioned. But that's not what I have aspiration for. My aspiration is just this: chanting and chanting and chanting and chanting. Now that's elevated, so we may not be in that position, but it's a mahatmya, it's a glory of the holy name. And here's the last, the section is long. I'm just going through one by one. These are the first three in the list. Again, an author unknown. May Krishna's holy name, which is a reservoir of all transcendental happiness, no, list the Mahatmyas, the glories, the destruction of Kali Yuga sins, the most purifying of all purifying things, the saintly person's food as he quickly traverses the path to the spiritual world, the pleasure garden where the voices of the greatest saints, philosophers, and poets play, the life of the righteous, and the seed of the tree of religion bring transcendental auspiciousness to you all. I thought that's a nice way to end. The author, whoever composed this, is offering benedictions to all, to the reader of this nice glorification of the holy name. May Krishna's name bring transcendental auspiciousness to you all. Transcendental auspiciousness. Not the asha or the aspiration for bhukti or mukti, but transcendental auspiciousness. And one who becomes acquainted with the holy name, and as Jnana Chandra Goswami, when the mind becomes one with the name becomes one with the mind. When there's that immersion, then transcendental auspiciousness becomes one's life. Very ordinary people can be made into extraordinary people, extraordinary souls, just from the chanting of the holy name. I'm going to tell one more story and then I'm going to end. There was one of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's disciples that loved chanting so much that he took on the title of Babaji. And Bhaktisiddhanta generally didn't want his disciples to become Babajis. He wanted them to do practical service. But this one devotee had such a liking for the chanting of the holy name because it was genuine, it wasn't an escapism or something, that he encouraged him to live his life that way. So the story goes, one time this Babaji was with Prabhupada and Ban Maharaj. Ban Maharaj was one of the two sannyasis that Bhaktisiddhanta sent to England to establish the Gaudiya mission outside of India, because it was the teaching of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It was a strong emphasis of his father, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and he was following both Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his father with the mission of establishing the teachings of Lord Chaitanya outside of India. It was a big, big, big deal. Bhaktisiddhanta arranged that the 64 temples in India, they all contributed something to assist these two sannyasis to make their way to England and become successful. It's and so on and so on. So it's a big, big festival when they departed. But they stayed for some time, but they weren't really successful. They came back empty-handed, more or less. So this Babaji was sitting with Prabhupada and Ban Maharaj and saying, our Guru Maharaj gave the same assignment to both of you. Go to the English-speaking parts of the world and establish the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One of you became successful and the other didn't. Why? You're both excellent writers, you're both very learned, you're both, materially speaking, from a material vantage point, qualified, equally qualified, highly qualified. One was successful, the other was not. Why? And they both laughed and said different things. And then the Babaji said, because he had full faith in the holy name, and therefore he was successful. So faith in the holy name and immersion in the holy name can make the difference between even qualified people, what to speak of unqualified people, powerful. It's a really important factor in being able to receive Krishna and to give Krishna effectively, is absorption in the holy name. Now some of us feel, I can say I for one feel, I have a lot of spiritual growth to make in terms of that particular feature. Like, as Devamadava said, I'm not a big kirtanir. I can sing Jai Radhamadava. I know few things. But it's an aspiration. I like chanting japa. And it's an aspiration to enter more deeply into the teachings of Lord Chaitanya through the doorway of the holy name. One without the other is incomplete. They go together. Radha and Krishna go together. Krishna is the name, Radha is Harikatha. The two go together. So we want to develop deeper understanding of who is Krishna, chant the holy name, and hear Harikatha regularly. Shrinvata Swakata Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana, Ridyan Takstohya Bhadrani Vidunoti Saritsatam, etc. Any discussion? I must say, you really pack people. They're out in the hall. Huh? Haribol, everybody back there in the hall. Could you hear okay back there? The sound is good? Okay. Good. Any discussion? That was a yes, by the way. Yes.
I liked your mention.
Is this on? Okay. I liked your mention and focus on the value and the meaning of the holy name, because I think some people say this or they say that, or and I thought of like an opera singer, like a professional opera singer they might not know the language that they're speaking, but they dive into the meaning of every single word and every single syllable. And so when they sing from their heart, that's what people go pay however much money to do. In a material sense.
Just skip the microphone.
Okay, in a material sense, that's what they're doing. And so that's why I think there's so much moving emotion, because they've connected every single syllable, and they've studied every single thing. And in a way, we could not become professional opera singers, but take to the holy name in that way. It sounds like from your guidance.
It's true for any profession. He's going to want to switch the microphones. You take the dead one, and he'll give you the live one. On the flight from Newark, New Jersey, to come here to Detroit, I was sitting next to, I think he was a medical doctor. And I didn't ask him, I wasn't busybodying, but he was holding some digital device, and he was it was all medical. It was showing, details and details and details and details of and details and details and details of, medical science. So this man, for an hour and 45 minutes was immersed in medical science. So and if he's doing that on a plane ride, what does he do the rest of his day and the rest of his life? It's details and details. So there's a person, at least theoretically, he knows details. And if you want to get immersed in anything, whether it's office cleaning or medical technology or something, become familiar with it and become deeply immersed in it. So because the microphone was funky, I didn't get all of what you said. But as with anything, it's not just the technique of it; it's the immersion in it. That's what you were saying. That's the part that I got anyway. You want to add to it? There's more to it.
There wasn't like much more to it other than the heart, because like the opera singer not only like sings from a technical space, but also like the emphasis on each thing, like they are understanding the meaning of each thing that they're saying, so their heart somehow is able to engage and then connect with all these others.
Okay, good. Okay. Nice contemplation.
When we hear about the mind, like mind with a capital M, it's inclusive of like the buddhi and the ahankara and the manas and the senses. And when we hear about like thinking of the meaning of the mantra, we tend to privilege the buddhi aspect of the mind. So we're thinking about, the various things that you shared today, which were very beautiful, the sentences and the words, but that usually doesn't allow us to be immersed in the holy name. So the other side of it is like you can think with a feeling also.
You can do what?
Think with a feeling, like the manas aspect of the mind, where there's like an intense feeling that also causes you to become absorbed or immersed. And I was thinking of the example of Shishupal. He was immersed in the name of Krishna, but not so much through the buddhi, but through the feeling of hate. He had like this profound hate that caused him an immersion in Krishna. So when I think about how to become immersed, because you were just saying we need to be immersed, I have questions about the feeling aspect, because I've learned a lot about how to think about the mantra. I love learning shlokas. I love studying the meanings, but I don't necessarily get like an immersion when I'm chanting. And so, because I'm cut off from my feelings,
Because
basically.
why?
I'm cut off from my feelings. I don't really have any feelings for Krishna. And so, I don't get like an immersive experience in chanting. Sometimes it even kind of gets weird, where you're like chanting, but you're trying to think of the meaning at the same time, and it's got like this sort of schizo element to it. Like you're jumping back and forth. Like internally, one may experience it that way. But I'm like, well, Shishupal just had hate, and he was immersed in the holy name. And I'm not saying hate Krishna, but I'm asking how do we privilege or like give support to that aspect of our mind that feels when trying to get immersed in the holy name? Because it seems like it'd be hard to accomplish immersion without feeling.
Well, I'm a simple guy. In one sense, I'm a complicated guy, but I'm a simple guy. The simple part of me says, just like Raghunath Das Goswami says, or any elevated Vaishnava will say, get close to those who have the feeling. Remember and offer obeisances to and serve and associate with those elevated souls. And through associating with those that have that feeling, as diverse as it may be for this person, that this great acharya, that great acharya. There's diversity, but there's immersion. And you want to get immersed, then associate with those that are immersed. And we can't do it, by sitting next to them and hearing them in kirtan. But we can read their writings, and I don't know about you, but Raghunath Das touches me that way. The heart of Raghunath Das is laid bare, unpretentiously, and becoming absorbed, becoming the word you're using, but becoming absorbed in not just the message, but the mood. He has such affection, and he's teaching how to have that same affection. So associate with Raghunath Das Goswami and the people who he's recommending that you associate with. And it's not just, it's a little bit like what she said, it's not just information, but then it becomes, a whole other experience. That's my experience. These great personalities, it's not just information about them. It's what they have to offer, and by getting close to them, feeling closeness with them, the feelingness of bhakti life starts to awaken within the information and the sound and the messages and teachings, the feeling, by associating with them. Somebody else? Yes. Go ahead. We'll pass the mic, but you go ahead and start.
I feel a lot of absence when I chant, not a lot of presence of the person, Krishna. And how does one, is it that the person must reveal himself for you to feel the person's presence? Or how do you, why do I feel absence? That it's more of missing the person rather than the person being present when you try to chant. So I don't, what's the...
It sounds like what you're saying is similar to what he said. It's just a different way of saying what he said. Jai Jagannath. It's not expressed the same way, but it's similar.
How do you call the person so you know the person is, you can feel the person is present with you?
Well, the starting point is faith, adau shraddha, preliminary faith. And then you know what's next, sadhu sangha, and then bhajana kriya. So, along with, let's say, sadhu sangha, reading Prabhupada's books and participating in kirtan, those two things, reading and associating, discussing with others in reading groups or however you like, and kirtan. So that's fundamental, which I'm taking you're doing, but the experience of the person is what you think it could be, should be. That's what you're saying. So your question is the question I was raising at the very beginning. How to go beyond just that. I'm chanting, I'm reading, not much progress. That's what I put on the screen here. Or I'm not really feeling the connection with the person. So the next, my answer is what I presented this evening. Manashiksha, check it out. Manashiksha, verse number 3. Manashiksha, verse number 3. There's no harm in repeating it. How to go beyond. If you have a desire to be with Radha Krishna intimately, birth after birth in Vrindavan, here's what to do. So that you feel you're connected rather than disconnected, or present rather than absent. It's mercy. And we're not accessing the mercy because we're on another channel. Basically me. Rather than the relationship with Krishna. So I'm not making that relationship with Krishna connection like I want to. That's good. That's the preliminary faith. Then comes this other level of sadhu sangha. So learn about these persons and what they are giving you or me or any one of us liberally. And receive it, understand it as best you can, receive it, associate with them through that gift that they want to give. And take your pick. They're all wonderful. Raghunath Das Goswami is one of the wonderful ones. That it for different people it works. For me, it works. He strikes a chord. It resonates. And, transcendental emotion and feeling become awakened just by his association. He's empowered to give it. So get close to Raghunath Das Goswami and Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. And the bridge will be right there into feeling connected rather than disconnected, present rather than absent. Through their mercy and their association. Anything else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I was wondering because you mentioned that when one does any of the five primary angas of bhakti without offense, then one attains Bhava Bhakti.
At once.
At once. My understanding was that at the stage of Nishta, one is performing those activities without offense. But we still have Ruchi, Asakti, and then Bhava. So I was wondering if there was anything you wanted to say about that.
Sure. Interesting that you're asking this question, because on the flight on the way from Newark to Detroit, I'm preparing for that particular topic to be spoken of in the next place, in Portland, Oregon, Madhurya Kadambini, chapter 4. And Ruchi is not, Nishtha is a stage where prayeshu, nashta prayeshu abhadreshu, the abhadras are almost destroyed. but not completely. And so then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and other acharyas, they give lists of what's remaining without making the list. But there's not, the short answer is there's residual stuff that still needs to be cleared.
So I guess because those are the anarthas that are remaining within the heart at the stage of nishta. But I was thinking that the performance of the anga of bhakti is still like done offenselessly, if that makes sense.
Well, you're asking the same question, and I'll give the same answer. The offenseless stage is when those obstacles are completely gone. So if you or I or any sadhaka can avoid the 10 offenses against the chanting of the holy name, one of those offenses is inattentiveness. And if our attention is distracted or covered by coverings, then we're not being fully attentive, we're not being fully free from offense of inattentiveness. Vikshepa. Just to get technical. And that's one of the obstacles that one has to get on the other side of just to achieve the nishtha stage, which is your topic. But traces are lingering. You don't ask the same question again. Read Madhurya Kandambani, and you'll see there's a chart where it's squeaky clean. That's in the bhava stage. And before the bhava stage, it's not squeaky clean. Uma has something. You get the last question. We're going to end. Oh, you too. Okay, both of you.
Hare Krishna. You mentioned mantartha, the value and the meaning, and sometimes it takes the intelligence, like a lot of effort, and it taxes the brain to focus on those values and meaning. But at the same time, Maya on the other side is giving stuff that is distracting. You try once or twice and 3 times, like you try for a few times and you don't get reciprocation, you feel like giving up, and you give up, and then you go back to your distractions. Then it's like a cycle, that distraction coming back, going out.
I'm familiar with the territory.
What can increase your, like you mentioned sadhu sangha and inspiration and reading, but on a daily basis, like what can help to not be distracted?
Not being what?
Not be distracted. And not be mentally exhausted also.
Well, that's part of... This question is answered in Madhurya Kandambani. But it's, Madhurya Kandambani is just a commentary on the stages of bhakti found in Canto 1, Chapter 2. It's just an it's a slow motion description with details that aren't in Canto 1, Chapter 2, but the distraction has everything to do with our inattentiveness, which is back to his, the fenceless. As long as there's lingering stuff within, then there's going to be unsteadiness. Up to steadiness, and then steadiness doesn't mean to squeaky clean yet. It just means steadiness. Here's something that Jiva Goswami writes in Bhakti Sandarbha. I'm going to address your question, but I'm going through the back door instead of the front door this time. referring to these verses, steadiness, but this is in Bhakti Sandarbha, Anuchade 46. Jiva Goswami writes that this verse, Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu, that the Nishtha stage can be reached even before all abhadras or unwanted things are removed. Steadiness doesn't mean they're removed. It means, steadiness means even they're there, bhakti is so strong, there's steadiness. When bhakti is so strong, there's steadiness, even those anarthas are there. Jiva Goswami says, for steadiness to be achieved by the path of Gyan, it means all unwanted things need to be completely removed. It's just like, very similar to what this Ishwara Puri statement said. Let them become liberated by this method. I just want to chant. So, back to your question. Even if there's distraction, if there's sufficient faith, and this faith is through these two things, the mantras, meaning the mantras, this is just Hari Bhakti Vilas. There are different ways of looking at the same thing, but because I'm speaking on the topic, what's the power of the holy name? Even Abbas chant, even that chanting that's distracted, it has the power to take away material miseries. The causes of the material misery, stay with it, because it's powerful, even the distracted kind. But now, how to go beyond distracted? That's this topic. Well, besides abhyasa yoga yuktena, besides continue to practice, that practice in what way? I like Raghunath Das Goswami, so I'm just going to keep referring to Raghunath. He's got the answer. Take it. He wants to give it to you. Take it. You don't want it distracted chanting? Here's what to do. Take it. Then you can go, yeah, but. Even when I try to take it, I'm distracted. That means that you have residual tendencies. That's all it means. So how to get rid of those residual tendencies and you squeak it clean? It's a path. It's an asha. You put that in your GPS and just keep going. And even if you get distracted, keep your GPS on. Even if you turn left instead of right, it'll redirect you to get back to the path. The right association from persons that are on the platform that are beyond the distracted. And here it is. It's yours. Take it. And then you can say, yeah, but, and then you won't go. So yes, practice, but practice in this meaningful way. Or similarly, because there's Raghunath Das, but he's also referring to Rupa. So read Nectar of Instruction, text number 7. The jaundiced, the taste may not be full because you're jaundiced, you're diseased. Okay, take rock candy if you're jaundiced. Oh, it's bitter. Take it with faith, with adara. So get absorbed in the teachings, and the teachers giving the teachings, they want to take you there. And audinam is the practice every day, every day, every day. Yeah, but I'm distracted. Keep practicing every day. Okay?
Thank you, Maharaj.
You have something.
I had 4 questions.
4. Pick one, please.
But I can just ask one, or I can ask them later. Whatever you'd like, Maharaj.
Ask one,
Okay.
because you got the microphone.
Excuse me. This is a follow-up to the answer you gave to Jai Jagannath Prabhu. His question was about how to become immersed. And you had said associate with those who are immersed, and you pointed to Raghunath Das Goswami.
Yes.
I was just thinking that sometimes it's a struggle, or let's put it this way, wouldn't it be wonderful if I could associate with someone who's immersed and sitting right in front of me, whom I could have conversations with, who I could chant japa with, who I could read with, or yeah, sometimes it's maybe a barrier. Certainly associating with Raghunath Das Goswami can take us there.
Yes.
But because of my conditioning, I always I wish I could have this great person or some great person just...
Well, here's the good news. It's not virtual, it's personal. And to the degree, let's say you were in the physical presence of Raghunath Das Goswami, would it be any different? In one sense, yes. In another sense, no. Because the dull consciousness would be dull consciousness. Or covered consciousness would be covered consciousness. And the fullness of that experience would be not available. Besides, the acceptance principle. The reality is what the reality is. Raghunath Das is in front of you, and his clone is not in front of you either. So what to do? You take that which he has given, or Rupa Goswami, or any of our great acharyas, Prabhupada, and what was it like to be with Prabhupada? Many of us who were Prabhupada's disciples had modest, some even had zero association, other than, someone chanted on their, not even Prabhupada chanted on their beads. Someone chanted on their beads, and Prabhupada gave the name. And they're fully devoted to Prabhupada. So some persons had, anyway, so it did different. Some persons had so much association, they fell away. So it's not physical proximity. It's the spiritual sangha. This is my understanding. Your situation is what your situation is. And you accept your situation, and the facility to get access to what you want is provided. The personal association. Is it possible? The answer is yes. I mean, here's a little example. For example, Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes at the end of one of the final books that he wrote, Bhagavad Arkamrichimala, he wrote at the end, normally one should not disclose such things, but here I go. Sarup Damodar came to me and instructed me to write this book. And he gave me some special teachings on 111 Srimad Bhagavatam, and that should go in the book. And so I'm writing the book. Is it possible? It's certainly possible. But that's Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and we're not Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So we're these little people. But is it possible? So supposing you're not Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and you get Swarup Damodar's association, what's going to happen? Something. But the main message in response to you become qualified with that which is provided by Krishna for you, custom made for you, and you accept it and go with it. Rather than it's not the way that I would have designed it if I was the supreme controller. It is what it is. And then become more qualified, and you'll get access to things that you don't have access today, tomorrow. It's not just you. I mean, you're expressing on behalf, I would assume, many others. So, become eligible. Okay, I'm going to end. I'm thinking of spending time with Prabhupada. When Prabhupada was present, I had there were opportunities presented, and somehow, bonehead, I was happy just serving at a distance. I was happy. I wasn't feeling something lacking. So that's what I did. I mean, I was given this service, this title, that title, but it was always service and separation. But the mission and the desire of my spiritual master, or ISKCON's founder, Charya, was everything, and that was fully satisfying. Here's a little. There was a devotee. This is anecdotal. There was a devotee named Aravinda, and when I was a new devotee, Aravinda was a very internal, intense person. At a certain point in time, he became Prabhupada's personal servant, like Hari Sori did and Shruti Kirti did, and he became Prabhupada's personal servant. And the day that I was initiated, he had the list of names, and he was reading the names, and he read my name, and Prabhupada corrected him, and he corrected Prabhupada. It doesn't say this, it says that. It doesn't say that, it says this. And Prabhupada sat back and said, okay. And he fell down. I mean, I don't know where he went, but he wasn't, he went away. Although he had intimate. And there's another person that, like me, Kaladri is another person like me, that just had remote service. And but he had so much intimate service with Prabhupada. So much intimate service with Prabhupada. He doesn't brag about it, but you'll ask him about it. And there's all this nectar. And anyway, so there are different moods. And Krishna makes arrangements for different persons. It's not just he brought ice cream from New Vrindavan. He did many, many, many intimate things in service to Prabhupada. When Prabhupada was sick with malaria in Vrindavan. Just, anyway, without the detail. So, but it's just different moods. And Krishna makes different arrangements for different devotees. So accept that the arrangement that he's made for you, and you want that Sangha, let it become yours, become qualified to get it. In ways that Krishna may surprise you, you'll get it. You don't have to have a vision about, that Swarup Damodar Goswami is going to appear to you. Rupa Goswami appeared to Prabhupada. instructed Prabhupada. So we're not qualified like that. To become qualified. And everything that you need, and everything you need, and even things that you don't need but you want, it can be arranged, no problem. Become qualified. That's easier said than done, but that's the assignment. That's our life's assignment. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.